Aloha, how are you guys all doing? I haven't made a video in a while, but I found something that's pretty crucial and pretty important. I think I haven't seen anybody talk about it or share about this, and I wanted to make a video and present it to everyone for your guys' consideration. And I made a presentation, and though I have 38 different slides, in 9 slides, I'm just going to make the first part in 9 slides, 10 slides. I'm gonna get straight to the point and present this for your consideration. And this diagram here is what they would call, our most psychic pranic channels, Ida, Pingala, and Shushuna, and it's connected to the chakra system and how it runs through wherever Ida and Pingala, positive and negative, crosses at creating a 0 point in the center. It's where the chakra system flowers, and this diagram is also a map of is the base code of creation. So I'm gonna call this, if this was called the source code of creation, what I'm presenting to you guys is that I found a critical flaw or a security breach in our source code, and it is related to the patriarchal domination, the 300-year witch hunts, and the heliocentric theory. How I believe they pushed the heliocentric theory was because it was pushed in the middle of a 300-year witch hunt that nobody dared to contest. And we live in an inverted system. Every single aspect of our society has been inverted. The air, food, and water is poisoned. Our governments are not what they should be representing. The people are not doing what they're doing. The military, religion, the news, finance, medicine, education, science is absolutely gatekept. You know what I mean? Absolutely gatekept. And this is another part that's being gatekept that we are just beginning to look at as a collective, I believe, is the challenging the heliocentric theory. Now, I'm not saying it's flat. What I'm saying is the heliocentric theory does not add up, because the truth is like a lion. It should not need to. It should not. It should defend itself. No, we shouldn't need to defend it because it should defend itself. And what I'm saying is the heliocentric theory does not add up. And 9 slides. Give me 9 slides, and I'll prove my point. As I was researching the witch hunt, I came across this woman, Matilda Joslyn Gage, who published a book in 1880 entitled Women, Church, and State. And it really hit me like a ton of brick. Like, it hit me so hard from deep within that, I think it really nails it in the head in this presentation and where we are at in humanity, And so I'm gonna read to you this preface here. Tired of the obtuseness of church and state, indignant at the injustices of both towards women, at the wrongs inflicted upon one half of humanity by the other half in the name of religion, finding appeal and argument alike met by the assertion that God designed the subjection of women, and yet that her position had been higher under Christianity than ever before. Continually hearing these statements and knowing them to be absolutely false. Wow. Read it, examine it for yourselves, accept or reject from the proof offered, but do not allow the church or state to govern your thought or dictate your judgment. Wow, what an amazing woman. And what she, there were different, it was 300 years. Nobody knows how many people were killed. But some says a few thousand, some says tens of thousands. According to Matilda, she says 9 million people were killed. 9 million in 300 years. Can you imagine? This is really plunged us into such depths and darkness, yeah, 300 years. This is where our amnesia comes from. This is part of where our amnesia comes from. And what we're up against is these giants. In the Bible, it talks about them, and I'm sure you guys have seen this passage before, and I'm just going to read it again. Read this passage. When people began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that they were fair and beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all that they chose. These were giants, some books call them Nephilim, on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God, some call them Elohim in different books, came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:1-6. 6:16. Interesting, yeah? And look at the size of these beings, these Anunnakis. They're huge, they're massive, towering over their human subjects, with technology that is advanced beyond our current understanding. And they came from a pre-flood era. There was all throughout the world, there was a pre-flood, and I know I'm not the only one tracking these things, and I know some of you guys are aware of these consciousness interacting and the hidden hand that's been guiding humanity and our path forward, but there are different people on different paths, and I just want to go through some of these slides here. And look at this, this guy's holding a lion. This lion's terrified, just terrified. Look at him. These warriors holding the heads of other humans that are much smaller than them. This guy on the left looks like he has 2 arms on this right side. Interesting. These Egyptian gods, same thing. And these here are showing you where their lineage comes from. They're communicating to you that this is where they come from. This is their lineage. And I have not verified this information, but all throughout history, there's been documentation of these giants. And of course, it's been conspiracy theories, whatever, but like at this point, if you're not aware of this, like, I don't know what to say, but I'm sure some of you guys are keen enough to be aware of some of the mythologies of these skeletons, and I'm sure you guys are aware of these 2 giants, Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton. Every time we have a thought, we create a chemical. Our environment signals the genes, and the biology of belief. Thoughts and beliefs can have a profound effect on our biology, and beliefs and emotion can absolutely alter our genetic expression. So belief can alter our genetic expression. Splitting of the atom. Looking at the basics of an atom, the atom are basic units of matter. Everything in the universe, apart from energy, is made of matter. Therefore, atoms make up everything in the universe, physical universe. And in the atom, guess what? They're made out of 3 parts. Holy Trinity: electron, proton, and neutron. Sounds like positive, negative, and neutral. When they split, back up. When they split the atom, they were able to, it released tremendous amounts of energy that they were able to harness that, and that was the basics of the atomic bomb, nuclear fission to create fissures, and also the hydrogen bomb. And this is really important. The splitting of the atom released so much energy. The sun and the moon, the 2 lovers in our sky. One governs the mind, one governs the emotion. One governs the wind, one governs the water. And we say feng shui, feng shui. And these are literally pairs. They're absolutely the protons and electrons, you know what I mean? The feminine and masculine luminaries. One rules the day, one rules the night. There's so much anomalies of the moon that they've created all this science and mathematics and to describe how they're absolutely not equals. Guess what? They've also convinced us with great effort that men and women are not equals, that women are below men. You know what I mean? You guys know the stories of Adam and Eve, that she was of low moral fiber and character, that she was seduced by the serpent, and that's why they had the witch hunts on women, because women were seduced by the serpent, and thus more susceptible to Satan and his seduction influences, and dude, it's the same thing. Every attack, every effort of erasure of women that they've done to women is exactly what they've done to the moon. I hope this is obvious. Once you see it, it is so obvious. You know, they say we only ever see one side of the moon because of the gravitational law. And it's so odd. And also that the distance that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but yet it's through the distance that they appear the same. You know, the odds of that happening is astronomical, absolutely astronomical. Now, I know the other stories of that it's a mothership, it was placed there, that it was dialed there, it was first a Palladian mothership and all this stuff. You know what? I think they have been muddying the waters for so long. These guys are absolutely in another class. Their new our awakening was coming, and they've muddied our waters so much. And I'm not into it anymore. I'm not into it anymore. But yeah, so check this out. If this was a solid object, why is the moon transparent? So many times the moon is transparent. Shouldn't there be like a black object behind it? It just doesn't add up. Again, bear with me. Give me 9 slides. Give me 10 slides. This is number 7. The Holy Trinity. Again, this is the most pranic channel in the body. The most important thing here is this in this diagram I created. It's in red. That Ida and Pingala, the moon and the sun channel, meets at the third eye, then terminates at the nostril. So they originate down here by the root chakra, and whenever they cross, they create a 0 point, and that in that 0 point is where the chakra system flowers, and then it keeps weaving in and out, and every time they cross, they create a chakra point, which tells us that this chakra point right here, this point of neutrality is key in mastering, evolving, in learning the lessons involved with each chakra, and at every higher octave, we get the lessons repeated in a different signature, you know, in a different station. And when it comes to the third eye, it crosses there and then it terminates at the nostril. It does not go up to the crown. It does not, again, I repeat myself, does not come up to the crown. And we'll go through some diagrams. Here you can see comes up to the nose, the third eye to the nose, and does not go up to the crown. This is our Holy Trinity. And this most pranic channel, the most pranic channel of the Ida, Pingala, and Shushumna is what creates the foundation and basis for all these geometries in the bodies. And so if that is off, it will throw off all of our geometry. It create fissures and fractures in our geometry. And none of this would be this beautiful geometry because it's dependent upon this Holy Trinity. And again, same thing, different tradition. This is, I believe, Tibetan, and same thing. Terminates at the third eye, and then crosses the third eye and terminates at the nostril. Does not go to the crown. And these, I only created the first diagram. The rest is what I found on the internet. You know, does not go to the crown. And so let me go up to the left here. Ida, Pingala, Shushumna, or moon, sun, and central channel. You know, interesting, in the East, they say Ida, moon, Pingala, sun, and it's always the moon first before the sun. It's always yin before yang. They never say yang yin or Pingala Ida. But in the West, we're so conditioned to say sun and the moon because they're programmed in our minds about the solar system. So this, you know, the Holy Trinity literally represents the feminine, masculine, and the Holy Spirit, which is neutral in the middle. Let me go back to this picture. And we hear a lot about the attack on the nuclear family, but this is the nuclear family, the Holy Trinity within us. Signature of doctrines, biomimicry, as above, so below, as within, so without. And so this is literally the yin and yang. You know, there was a new diagram. I'm sorry, slide number 11. There was this new diagram of this visualizing the real-time entanglement of photons, you know, and they look exactly like the yin and yang. And so this yin and yang, DNA, proton, electron, male and female, the sun and the moon, these are all different levels and layers of the Holy Trinity, and how it creates life at the different levels and layers, you know. And This right here, Guru Rinpoche, who created, invented, perfected this rainbow body, where he is able to transform, transmute his physical body into light, into energy. You know, these tanka literally means hidden messages, recorded messages, and there are meditation, visualization aids, and you're supposed to meditate, visualize these images around you, and first level outside of you, in front of you, and once you get that, you become the central deity, and you visualize all this display, this environment, the environment around you, just as the environment, as Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza made popularized that the environment signals our genes. Here they have the sun and the moon, and they're exactly the same size. Guess what? Did he get it wrong? Mr. Guru Rinpoche, who is able to convert matter into light, did he get the size of the sun and moon wrong? Or are we supposed to keep the sun and moon in balance? Because if this is the shape of the sun and the moon, it would absolutely cause havoc and imbalance in our energetic system. I woke up one morning and it hit me. It just hit me. I just knew spirit shared with me when I woke up that the heliocentric theory was a splitting of the Holy Trinity. This creates an imbalance of the Holy Trinity. So what would be the impact of this? If the sun is truly 400 times larger than the moon, it would have a large magnetic field and also a gravitational field, and our central axis would be pointing towards the sun and no longer neutral. And this is what it would look like. So what would be the impact of that, you know? What I am proposing is that this right here, this diagram right here, is exactly the diagnosis of our humanity right now. We are all extremely, as a collective and individually, yin deficient, malnourished, undernourished of yin, and overexposed to yang. We are just jacked up with yang energy. And this is a mind virus. You know, this heliocentric theory is literally a mind virus. And the institution that pushed this also pushed their Holy Trinity is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, where's the feminine in that? Does that really seem like where life comes from? There's Uncle Ed, famous kahuna on Kauai. If you guys are from Kauai, I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Famous kahuna on Kauai guarded the female heiau, the feminine heiau, where they said all souls born into the earth incarnates into, and even the Dalai Lama confirmed this. And you know, he would always say, "We come from the black hole, not the asshole." And you know what I mean? And I just had to bring Uncle Ed in here because Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, like, where do you come from? Where does life come from? They, from the beginning of time, they have been trying to erase women and defame and smear women from the beginning of time. You know what I mean? And original sin. And what they've done to women is exactly what they've done to the status of the moon and our emotions and our soul and our lunar luminary. Divide and conquer, you know, putting us above women and degrading women of their rights and equality as men, and not just that, but within ourselves, you know what I mean? And because if this is the belief, what kind of chemistry does that create? Did Guru Rinpoche get it wrong? There's also a saying in the Bible right here that says, Satan is the prince of the power of air. According to Feng Shui, the moon governs the emotion, the water, and the sun governs the mind, the wind or air. And this is literally Satan boasting himself, you know? I got some slides here. Oh, yay, okay. And gray abduction. You know, we hear these stories about the grays coming abduction, and they're coming back here to abduct some of their own ancestors because They've evolved to such a state where they've bred out their emotions and only evolve their cognitive function and realize that they cannot evolve no more without their emotions, and they're coming back to harvest genetic material from their ancestors. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of these stories. And guess what? This right here explains it. This right here explains it. Like, oh my freaking God, you know what I hope you guys can see that. I hope you guys can see that. So I'm gonna go through some slides here. Okay. Guess who else uses this symbol? Guess, check out this symbol. World Health Organization. Look at that central channel. It looks like what they've done is instead of having the masculine also paired up with the feminine, they have deified the masculine to the point where the feminine is left alone to do this dance by herself. And the masculine, guess what? That makes two poles on the top going up and down. And that's exactly our US dollar. Isn't that incredible? It's all in the symbol. All in the symbol. And they also would like to say that, you know, we have a binary system. All throughout life, we live in a binary system. Yin and yang, proton and electron, mother and father, men and women, masculine and feminine, sun and moon. But they would like us to believe that the binary system to our sun is planet X. It's like this invisible boogeyman that's like going to come back again. You know, I don't know, since 2012, how many times have I heard that planet X, Nibiru, is coming back? They have tracked this gravitational anomaly. You know what? They're freaking pulling our legs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the moon is the binary to the sun. We have an eclipse coming up in a few days. The eclipse, you know what interesting about the eclipse? The eclipse always happens in 2 weeks. So after a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse is always 2 weeks. And you know, all I ask is that don't trust the science, man. After these past 3 years, we all should be questioning the science and be able to verify for ourselves. And what I'm presenting to you here is that you should be able to verify for yourself where the Holy Trinity is. Where do you come from? Where does life come from, you know? Other civilizations and societies have moon calendar or a solar lunar calendar, astrological calendar, and only in the West do they have a calendar named after a man, a patriarch, Gregorian calendar. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that sun and moon exactly equals pairs, the binary of each other. They lied about everything except for space. They would never lie to us about space, right? If you guys, I hope you guys are on the same page and aware that the moon was absolutely fake. There's so much things about the moon. That's why they've never gone back in 50 years, you know what I mean? It was absolutely fake and staged. You cannot land on the moon. You know, this ball Earth here does not exist. Nobody in the old world believed that the world was like this, you know. Here's another story about the moon being a mothership. You know, they're defamation of our feminine, you know. And this eclipse that's coming up, this is exactly like the Ida and Pingala channels. There are the sun and moon is crossing and creating a 0 point where it's a potent time of manifestation, where thoughts and energies come to fruition and flower, you know. And so I think it's an important time to really reassess and examine the sun and the moon and this Holy Trinity that we create, that we come from, you know. And it is absolutely on all levels of electrons and protons, the yin and yang of photons entanglement, DNA, male and female, mother and father, and the sun and moon, you know what I mean? It's absolutely a signature of doctrines and biomimicry, you know, all the way up to astral mimicry is what we have here. And I present this to you for your consideration. I also have I have a total of 38 other slides, and I'm going to save that for part 2 I hope this captured your imagination, captured your attention, and gets you to ask some questions and really examine it for yourself, because I think it's crucial. I think the solar system that they're presenting to us right here is an absolutely split and an attack on the Holy Trinity. And Guru Rinpoche agrees with me, I think. All right. Thanks for you guys' time, and I'll see you guys in part 2, hopefully. Aloha.